guys, welcome to the Bayside Fabrication YouTube channel. Today we're going to do something a little bit different here. We are going to restore and do a little how-to on restore some old wheels. So these are old BMW E39 wheels, and these are known as the BBS model number RC090, also known as Style 5s. So these are 17x8 two-piece wheels. And with these two-piece wheels, just the center comes out, and then you have left a barrel. So that's what they look like apart. Now, these two are 17x9s, okay? So these are actually a rare fitment. So what I'm going to do is utilize the best two barrels on these, this set of wheels, and then I'm going to swap the centers into those. So ultimately I'm going to have a set of 17x8, 17x9 staggered. So first things first, this is the condition. I do have the center caps. They are in a different area. Center caps are plastic, and this is pretty much what you expect on a unfinished set of wheels of this age that have been sitting outside at a scrapyard or whatever. This one's beat up pretty good. See all the curb rash there? So we'll see how this goes, but these are all clear coated. So what you need to do is strip all the clear coat, sand down the centers, repaint the centers, polish the lips, and I'm going to show you how to do all that. First things first though, on these you have to take them apart. So what I like to do is soak all these bolts in a mixture of half acetone, half ATF oil, and I find that is the best penetrating oil combination. So what I'm going to do now is just soak all these bolts, let them sit overnight, and then tomorrow we'll just hit them with the impact and get all these apart, and we'll see that. So right now I'm going to soak those, and I'm also going to cut off the valve stems. These are just plastic valve or rubber valve stems rather, and to get them off you can just, easy as that. So you're going to do that with all four wheels, and then take apart all four wheels, and we'll show you how that's done. Okay guys, it is the next day here, and we let these bolts sit overnight in our acetone and ATF mix, and now we loosen them. So you want to do is use a 12-point 10mm socket, and what I do is have it on a 1/2-inch impact. So this is the setup, and you simply just zing them out. Now I just crack them loose and I leave them half threaded, because what will happen, and I'll show you, this nut here has all sorts of clear coat grime and crap on it, and I find that it will stick to the into the socket. Okay, here's the next part. What I do is I put a piece of cardboard under here to collect all the bolts really, and what you do is you put one of the nuts into a socket, and you give it like 2 or 3 good turns. There you go. So it's not really a difficult process. It's just kind of time consuming. So I'm going to do this one wheel now, and we'll just go through, you know, just the steps, and you obviously just multiply this by the other wheels. It's pretty self-explanatory at that point. So as far as popping the centers off, sometimes they can pretty much corrode themselves to the barrels. I've had luck in the past. You just hit them with a dead blow and they'll knock them loose, but this one's gonna need a little more motivation. So this is what we're doing here. Wow, these suckers are really on there. Split my block in half. I've never had them that difficult before. There we go. Yeah, just a bunch of corrosion and grime on the edges there over the years. Like I said, kind of welded itself to the barrel. Let me show you the next step. Now we have them all disassembled. Now what I like to use is super clean, and it works really well. So what I do is take a little, and this is just to clean them, to get the initial clean before we sand or do anything. And what I like to do is just take a Scotch-Brite pad, a red Scotch-Brite, let the super clean soak, and look at that. So these are all gonna be sanded. So you can really just kind of be aggressive with this because it's not gonna hurt anything at this point. So we're gonna do this to all the wheels, get them nice and super clean, and we're good to go on this part of it. If you don't have patience, it's probably isn't the job for you because it does take time. But once you see the end results, it's totally worth it. Oh look, Donnie the drift car. All right, got laid on me real quick, but guys, I mean, this stuff is magic. Look at this. So already these are looking really sharp. The next step to getting these wheels refinished after we have disassembled them is to getting them all clean and ready for paint. Instead of sending these to the blaster and then getting them powder coated, there's a couple issues with that. One is the color I want is going to be a neon, like yellow almost. Pretty much color of the shirt, actually. And you can only powder coat metal, aluminum, steel, etc. These center caps are plastic. With that being said, I have to paint these because there is almost no way I will get a perfect match on this color, especially being the color I'm looking for, going to the plastic and to the powder coat. So I decided I'm going to paint these. Now, if you're going to powder coat, like if it's black or just a basic color, no problem. You can easily match that. But being a bold color or something really specific is going to be very difficult to powder coat and then match the center caps. That's just my experience, my opinion. I'm sure there's people that do this all the time that might have a better way to do it, but I'm also doing this in a budget, okay? Keep in mind, these are not going to be like the craziest wheels on the planet. At the end of the day, I do have the 9-inch barrels, but at the end of the day, if these were even the 8-inch barrels, they're only gonna be a $700, maybe $800 set of wheels, okay? So there's no point in going crazy, in my opinion, going crazy, spending a ton of money on getting these refinished. So just a quick idea on the cost of getting these stripped professionally and then powder coated, just so you guys know, is $35 a face to strip, not including the plastic. And then it would be another $35 a face to powder coat. So that's what, $140 each time. So that would be $280 just to get these into a color. Now, for me, I probably spent $200 on the whole wheel set. So for me to spend that kind of money doesn't make much sense to me. Plus, they're only gonna be like $800 wheels at the end of the day. And we still have to deal with all these barrels and polishing these up and everything, which is a whole separate thing. So, quick rundown. I already started this one, but essentially what I'm doing is I got an angle grinder here with a wire wheel. And I am just stripping. Okay, we're doing that to the entire face. As you can see, that's all done there. And then what I do is I actually found this little Scotch-Brite pad that is like a ball. And then we go in. We get into there. And we get into all these little nooks and crannies. And what you end up with, this one's finished, I just have to blow it off, but this one's ready for primer. So I do it to both sides. We try to get all the heavy scratches out, and I'm debating whether to epoxy prime these or polyester prime. And the reason you scuff it up is the scuff or the sanding puts scratches into the finish, and that allows for the paint to bite. Okay, think of laying something think of Velcro, right? Velcro doesn't stick to something flat, okay? It sticks to, it has little hooks and loops, right? So if you just take one side of Velcro and stick it to a flat surface, it's not gonna stick. But the other side bites, right? And that's how Velcro works. Well, think of that in like almost a molecular level. The paint needs to get into the scratches, right? To perform adhesion, and that's how the paint sticks. So with any painting anything, you're painting a fender on your car, anything like that, it has to be scuffed and sanded, or sanded, depending on what you're doing, in order to get a proper adhesion so the paint stays on the car, or in this application, on the wheels. So that's what we're doing. It's pretty basic painting, prepping 101. And yeah, so that's all we're doing right now. This one's finished. This one's ready for paint. This is all scuffed. You want to make sure there's no shiny areas, mainly, especially if there's still paint on it like this. This we strip pretty good. And being the style of wheels, I don't get too crazy. I just run the scuffer in here, then I go and hand do all the really tight little areas. But I don't, you know, we do the best we can on these, which is good enough. I've done multiple sets of these and they came out terrific. So, yeah, that's what we're doing right now. So we're just gonna keep sanding and we'll get a finished product here. We're just gonna do these 4. I was planning to do more, but let's just do these 4 because I just don't have time to deal with all this stuff. Just so you guys know, this is time consuming. I would say it takes about 20 to 30 minutes per face, depending on how corroded they are. You know, this one has a bunch of crap here that has to come off that didn't come off with the cleaning. So it really all depends on the condition of it as well. But if you get a nice scuff and the paint's already good, you can go a little faster. But yeah, so I figure about 2 hours to get all these faces done. Okay, well, this is the last center that is prepped and ready for paint. It just needs to be degreased. And in the meantime, what I did was, these 2 have already been stripped of their clear coat. But what I had to do was, these factory wheels have factory clear coat on them, and you need to strip that off in order to polish them. So these have been sitting about an hour. What I use is aircraft stripper and a brush, right? And you just take it and you put on a nice healthy amount of stripper. And let's peel this off. Looks like I'm going to dry it a little bit on there. This stuff is super nasty, so you make sure you want to use gloves and not get it on your hands. So there we go. Look at that. That's like a brand new wheel here. So I'm gonna go and carefully strip this off. And it did look like it dried out a little bit on me, so I might have to just reapply some stripper. But yeah, let me get a fresh coat of stripper and we'll be right back on this and we'll see how it looks. Okay, back to the wheel stripping. This took me 2 coats on the aircraft remover. First coat kind of softened it up. Second coat really hit a home run. So as you can see, this just comes right off. So we're gonna get the rest of this off, clean up these wheels, and these things will be ready for polish. We have the fun part here. I recommend a couple beers for this job, but this is cleaning the bolts. This is so how they come. And afterwards, we want them to look like this. So how do we do that? We take our bolt, chuck it up in the drill, get our wire wheel rolling, there it is, brand new bolt. So we have to do that with all of them, which is a ton of work, but it's better than buying them because they're like 180 bucks per wheel, I think, for a set of plated bolts. So this is just one of those deals where just take your time with it and do the best you can. So they've been all prepped and ready for paint. And one thing I like to do with these Style 5s is they come with this marking here to align the center caps. And the center caps has a little arrow on them. I actually just ground them off because that's what I do. There was an arrow there that designates, okay, you're supposed to line this arrow up with this mark in the wheel face, and I don't like that. It makes it just not look as clean as it could be. So what I do is just take a little grinder and we grind off this little nub. What we're going to do now is degrease them and get them ready for our epoxy primer. What I use is SPI epoxy. So this is it. This is epoxy primer. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So 1 part paint, or 1 part color rather, and the other part activator. And we mix it together, and this is going to be a white epoxy. And what that will do is supply us a really nice base coat for our color. I'm very excited to show you this color. But that's going to be our color. So that fluorescent yellow with a polished lip is, I think, going to look pretty solid. So let's get these prepped, degreased, and get some epoxy on these and get them ready for the colors. All right, guys, I'm all set up here. This is very primitive spraying, but they're just wheels, so we don't really care. This is what I'm using. I have a DeVilbiss GTI, Millennium GTI spray gun. And yeah, we're just gonna hit this primer. I have it mixed up here. We're all primed up. All right, guys, here we go. All right, it's the first time we gotta look at this color. It is bold. It's exactly what I wanted. Not too bad, guys. Base coat, clear coat. Came out pretty good. Still super tacky, so I'm just gonna walk away. That's kind of crazy. They look green in some lights and yellow in other light. So I think outside they look yellow, and then once it gets dark, they look more green. But we're gonna let these sit, base coat, clear coat paint job, and let these harden up for a couple days, and then we will start working on barrels and getting these things polished up. We're going to start polishing these barrels. Now, you can see here, there's still some of the clear coat. This stuff didn't peel off easily with the stripper. So what I have is these handy little, what are they called? Nyrock blades. These are snap-on, but they're great because they're like a plastic blade, so you don't gouge the aluminum. And these will just, you can see here, you just kind of have to give these a little scrape. And it's certainly better than a razor blade because you don't risk gouging into the aluminum and having to sand that out, which could be a lot of problems. So, okay, we're gonna start the polishing process now. So what I have is a variety of sandpapers. I'm going to start with 400 grit, then I'm gonna go to 600 grit, then 800, 1000, 1500. And then I'm gonna polish it and see how it looks. Okay, so this is the finish you're left with. So what I do is I dry it off with a towel. This is just our little spot from like here to here that we're gonna do. So this is sanded up to 1500. And now this is the polishing compounds that I use. This one is fantastic. I've been using this for years. This is Speedy all metal polish, very good stuff. And also Perfect It 3M Perfect It line. This is the machine polish that you would use for like buffing a car. This is the final stage polish before wax. And this is also a good product. So either of these do the same thing, but for now I'll do Speedy and I'll show you how this looks. So what I do, and actually you can get these for free sometimes from Harbor Freight, is I just get one of these little microfiber cloths, put some polish on there, and we start going to town. Now you want to kind of be aggressive at first, and with this polish, you just keep working it in. You don't stop, you don't dry it off, you just pretty much keep going until the polish goes away, and you'll see it start to darken up. All right, we're at the home stretch here. So guys, there's no real easy way to do this without specialized equipment. I was actually considering about taking one of these and making an adapter for the back side of my lathe. And but I figured by the time I did all that, I'd probably have all the wheels polished. So we're not drinking right now, but this is definitely a good beer drinking on a weekend type of thing or late at night, because like I said, there's no real super easy way to do this. These are getting pretty good looking here. So this is going to be our final product here. So you can see you have a nice polish. These aren't show car wheels, so it's not like super mirror, but it's perfect for what, I mean, these things are gonna get dirty and stuff anyway, so, but this is gonna be pretty awesome. So it went from that, or from that, to that. So that's gonna be pretty good. So we just gotta do it to the rest of the wheel, and that's one down. Well, here they all are. I decided just to break it up. I did one a day. It took me about, I'd say, an hour. This one, you can actually see a little bit of weirdness right here. I don't know if it's coming through on the camera. This wheel had a bend in it, like a taco, and I straightened it out, probably a year ago. I've had this barrel for a while. So I wound up straightening it out, and there was a little hairline crack in it, so I gouged that out and welded it, and then smoothed it out. So it came out pretty good. I mean, I got this is a 9-inch barrel, which are very, very hard to come by. I got it for 30 bucks. So it was kind of a no-brainer. It was one of those deals where if I could fix it, awesome. But if not, whatever. Okay, so next step is I just have to paint the inside. I'm just gonna rattle can the inside. So what I did was I took a piece of cardboard here. And what we're gonna do is take our wire wheel and clean up the inside, degrease it. Throw this down in here, spray it, pop it out, and that's all we're gonna do for the insides. I don't really care how the insides look. You can't see them anyways. And we're just gonna get it uniform and in one color. And that's gonna be pretty much it for our budget wheel build here, or wheeled restoration rather. So yeah, let me get painting the barrels and start assembling these guys. Here's the moment we've all been waiting for. Just got these finished up last night, bolted them together. So it's just as simple as that. Just bolt the faces, torque them down. I did 25 foot-pounds on each of the nuts and bolt assemblies. And today we're going to bring them to the shop. We got some used tires we're gonna throw on. We got 255 40s, I think they're, for the rears, and 235 45s for the front. And we're gonna see how these look on the Z-Kart, but I love these wheels. I always have. I mean, I know they're kind of played out, but the 9s look so good with the staggered to the 8s. I mean, you can't beat that. So this one I just popped the center cap in. just to see how it was really going to look. But overall, very happy with how they came out. And you know, I hope you guys kind of learned something, that this is something you guys can do with pretty much no tools, as long as you are okay using your hands and spending a bunch of time sanding. And you know, like last night, for example, I assembled these faces, but I did it in my living room watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. So I got to watch a little football, and I got to bolt some wheels together. So not bad, not too bad of a deal. But all right, let's get some tires on these and bolt them up to the Z-Kart. All right, and we got our wheels on. I need to clean everything. They're so, look how filthy. I mean, this is ridiculous. So we're gonna get these all cleaned up. I think they fit the car.